It's okay. Off your mic. It's okay. She off your mic.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go sama us, call them hate speech. But fear not, Maiyegun don't come. Him go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun diary politico, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo yo. This one not the off in mind. Oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo yo. And in the touchlight every corner. Oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Nah. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Sure. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mic, but thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun diary politico, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yo yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Maiyegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Maiyegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Poor man picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make
Malamala.
Mo bojú ayé o ayé ṣá malamala.
Mo máa bójú ọ̀run òkùnkùn ló ṣubúlẹ̀.
Mo máa bójú ọ̀run òkùnkùn ló ṣubúlẹ̀.
Mo ní ẹ̀ẹ́rẹ́ yìí o. Kí ni dé sí Yorùbá o ọmọ aráyé? Kí ni ṣẹlẹ̀ sí Yorùbá o ọmọ Oòduà o?
Yeyeyeyeyeyeye àwa máa ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ là ń bẹ. Yorùbá ń ṣera wọn nítorí owó. Yorùbá ń jìra wọn lẹ́sẹ̀ nítorí ipò. Wọ́n gbẹ̀mí fáláre, wọ́n gbáre pẹ́lẹ́bí. Wọ́n kò lè kó wájà, wọ́n tún kó lóko wá mú. Ọgbọ́n tí wọ́n gbọ́n ló gbé wọn délé ọlá. Ọgbọ́n náà ló tún padà wá sí lé wọn mọ́lẹ̀ o. Àwọn tí wọ́n ti ń ṣọ̀gá lọ́jọ́ tó ti pẹ́. Tún padà wá dẹni à ń fọwọ́ ti sẹ́yìn o. Yóò Yorùbá yoyoyo bí iná alẹ́. Yorùbá rúrúrú bí omi òkun. Yorùbá bàbá ni bàbá ń ṣe. Yóò Yorùbá ronú o.
Yorùbá sọra wọn di bọ́ọ̀lù fáráyé gbá.
Wọ́n bá gbá wọn sókè, wọ́n tún gbá wọn sísàlẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yà tí ó ti kéré tẹ́lẹ̀ ni wọ́n gé kúrú. Àwọn tí àìfẹ́ lọ́sùn ti dẹni àtijọ́. Yorùbá jókòó sílẹ̀ rẹ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ wọn fọwọ́ lọ́wọ́. Bí àgùntàn tí abọ́ rẹ̀ ń gbòrìṣà ilẹ̀ o. Yóò Yorùbá ronú o.
Oríkì màí burú títí kó bógún ọdún lẹ́yìn òkùnkùn bèrèbèrè ìmọ́lẹ̀ yàtọ̀ o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká pọ̀ Olódùmarè ká pọ̀ Balùwàyé káyé wa lè dùn ní ìgbẹ̀yìn lálàyò ilẹ̀ mọ́ pé ìyá o.
Ilẹ̀ dákun gbà wá o ilẹ̀ o.
Ilẹ̀ ọ̀gẹ́rẹ́ àfọkọ́yẹrí. Alákòókà ó tẹ́rẹ̀ẹ́rẹ́ kábì. Ọ̀gbàràgàdà bí ẹni yèyé mi ọmọ darúpalẹ̀ àdúgbò.
Ilẹ̀ dákun gbà wá o.
Òjijì tí ka ìkàlẹ́nu mọ́. Àtẹ ìka ọkọ tí a pèlẹ̀. Ọ̀gbàmùgbàmù ojú Olódùmarè ò máa ṣe gbàmù lọ́wọ́ ayé.
Àwa gorí ilẹ̀ yìí fẹ́ o.
Ẹni bá dalẹ̀ abalẹ̀ lọ ò
Pèrègèdè o.
Odùduwà bá wa túnlẹ̀ yìí ṣe òtò.
owó tọmọ o àwa gorí ilẹ̀ yìí pẹ́ o.
Odùduwà dá wa láre o.
ká sì máa rere jẹ́ o àwa gorí ilẹ̀ yìí pẹ́ o.
Ẹni bá dalẹ̀.
Thank you for joining me tonight, or wherever you're watching from. This is Maiyegun Live.
Maiyegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
You are all welcome to the Temple of Truth tonight's service. And count yourselves lucky enough to meet us live. So invite others too. Tell them Maiyegun is.
Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Maiyegun máa wí. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Ó sì tún ṣe eré, wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Maiyegun Diary, Diary Politico. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Godfatherism, kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Maiyegun. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ ṣẹ́ o, kẹ́gbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu. Maiyegun Diary, Maiyegun #1. Àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdò.
Maiyegun Diary, Naimbi #1. Thank you very much for joining me. Normally, maybe I would have skipped tonight's broadcast, but I couldn't. I have to speak about it. Femi Oponu Adesina released his usual gutter nonsense. But this time around, he seems to have lost it completely. He decided to compare our sage, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, with a lifeless breeding mannequin, Bokohari. And as you know, as expected, the Buhari idiots, the Sai barbarians, all these Lagos Abobaku and the rest of them are already feeding on it. Do you see why history is completely erased from the reach of the majority of young Nigerians today? Femi Oponu Adesina. They said he's from Ikwetumodu. But Ijesha, people have been like fighting me that I should stop saying Ikwetumodu Ijesha. I don't know. Well, Ikwetumodu, a Yoruba man who witnessed he's not a young man. Femi Oponu Adesina is probably born in the 60s too. Femi Oponu Adesina, who witnessed the revolution of the era of Obafemi Awolowo, that actually gave the opportunity for those who later became our criminal rulers in Yoruba land, children of the poor, the opportunity ever to have access to education, something that was their key to access the world. And the moment they got in, they shut the door and they flung the keys away. I'm talking about the era that is probably the golden era of the Yoruba people, where most of what actually make the Yoruba today, the achievement, the record, the history, most of the things that are really modern about the Yoruba people, when you talk about Nigeria, the period we achieved them, were the period that Femi Oponu Adesina, after feeding fat on his Fura Dinunu, decided to type his nonsense as usual and he said, Bokohari is more popular than all of those that, you call the big men or big political leader, president, past president, this and that in the history of Nigeria. And he didn't stop there. He said, specifically said, including Awolowo and Azikiwe, Buhari is greater, is popular, is more loved. He said Buhari is like Nigerians and Buhari, they're like bees and honey. The way bees loves honey. That's how Nigerians they home and abroad whenever they see Bokohari. That's an insult coming from a Yoruba man. Even makes it even kind of sad. I mean, we are here today. When in the history of Awolowo in Yoruba land, I'll remind you few, and then you can compare at least history of Bokohari 30 years ago or 36 years ago, and just about 6 years ago, and now they are still fresh. And I'm going to remind you, Awolowo did not open the land of Yoruba, did not open Yoruba land to invaders to begin to kidnap our people for ransom, to begin to kill our people and chase them out of their land. No, that wasn't a legacy of Awolowo to Yoruba people. Awolowo did not watch criminals take children into the forest for months. Some of them ended up as wives of terrorists like Bokohari, because we will have to let's leave Nigeria for now. Let's just talk about where these guys comes from. Bokohari is from Katsina. He's from Daura. Today, as you are watching this video, there's hundreds of thousands of people from Katsina State who are now refugees in Niger Republic, in Chad, in Cameroon, cannot even be accounted for. The last time they told us about their number in Niger Republic alone, those who ran away from Katsina where Bokohari comes from, it was in the same Katsina that Kankara happened. School children taken into the forest, tortured, their bodies sliced by terrorists that Bokohari is actually pleading and then trying to force the entire country to give lands to. Awolowo did not subject our children. In fact, Awolowo did not watch our children then, who are now grandmas today, defending Nigeria today. Awolowo did not watch them rot away as out of school children. This was 60 years ago, when there was no oil, when there was no Bambi a la Nigeria, when there was no this rent-seeking criminals lording it over everybody. Bokohari was president of Nigeria in 1985 when he planned his coup and took over before he was overthrown. For that period, and when he was overthrown and when he came back again, there's not even a single foundation that will say this foundation is Bokohari's foundation, channeled toward the education development in Katsina State alone. When he was head of state too, it was the same. But Femi Oponu Adesina, raised a Yoruba man, raised through the free education of the Yoruba land under Obafemi Awolowo, is the same man after being, well, he said Bokohari is his father, right? Bokohari called him son. He decided to use his left hand to point at his father's house. What do you say to such person? What do you call such person? Ọmọ àlè tó ń fi ọwọ́ òsì Juwele Babae. And there seems to be a problem with all these Femis in Nigerian politics. You have Femi Foni Kayode. You have Femi Oponu Adesina. You have a Femi Gbajabi Amoran or Gbajabi Amole. Another Femi that you can find who are actually supposed to be Yorubas. And when you talk about bad, or let me say the worst, representing the best, and then everybody is expecting something better, it's never going to happen. Femi knows the danger that the Yoruba land is right now. He knows. But he's presently, as they say, exercising table manners. They say when you are eating, you don't talk. Except if you want to praise the cook that gave you the food. Don't talk. That's exactly what Femi is doing. And people said he's doing his job, but he's doing more damages than anybody can ever quantify or imagine. The damages is this. They have made Bokohari believe that whatever anyone brings up in Yoruba land today as agitation or disagreement or disappointment or whatever is political. And the moment they made him realize that, listen, we have the wailing wailers like he coined back then, right? The wailing wailers are enemies and they must be treated as enemies, not as citizens who disagrees with the government's policies. No, they have to be treated as enemies. So praise singers like Femi Oponu Adesina is counted as a Yoruba man in government, a Yoruba man who wants Yorubas to remain in Nigeria, just like every single of them. Same thing goes for every one of us who have your own people in there, even if you are living in denial. You can't really live in denial of it. You just have to know. Every one of them there propagating the same thing that says, when you disagree, when you say, no, we won't let criminal Fulani terrorists to get away with the crime of killing us and chasing us out of our land, and then have to live with them because they have to be resettled on the lands that are now empty because people have been killed or they've run away. So disagreeing like that puts you in a state of wailing wailer, an enemy in their book. And that is more damaging than what you can think of. You and I think things should be done differently because they should be done differently. But you would expect that those who come or represent every tribe, because as we speak today, yeah, even Femi Oponu Adesina himself, about 3 days ago, he came out and he said, terrorism has skyrocketed under Bokohari. Fulani herdsmen and terrorism has also increased under Bokohari, which means insecurity. He said Bokohari has excelled in many things except for insecurity as part of the praise singing job. So there is no single part of Nigeria that is not feeling the brunt of the insecurity. So Femi Oponu Adesina, that has the ears of Jibri from Sudani, Bokohari from Niger. Yeah, he has his ears. And all he could tell him every time is, don't listen to those people because, in fact, you are more popular than the people they call heroes. You may not know, Baba. If they do anything, speak in the language they understand, which is violence and death, and he is a Yoruba man in that government. Same way, Devulu Mayi came out and he said, Biafra is madness. Asking for Biafra is madness and the rest of that. And I was having a chat with somebody earlier today and I said, it is very common when people will say, don't mind them. That's how the Yorubas do. And I'm like, hello, are you actually paying attention at all? That this has nothing to do with Yoruba, Igbo, Fulani, Hausa, or everywhere you come from as we speak today. Are you paying attention at all? In that same Nigeria, some people came together and they are not even hiding their faces. They came together publicly, proscribed a self-determination organization. They proscribed IPOB and they called them a terrorist organization, and they read the press statements just because they wanted to prove that no, they have nothing to do with Biafra. Would you say those people represent the interest of Biafra? Can any one of you clearly agree that when Devu Umahi said Biafra is madness, can you agree with that? Now, if you don't believe that Umahi, who else? The rest of all those people who are struggling to break their APC into Eastern Nigeria today, places of the more you know that they don't represent you, they don't speak for you. It's the same way you should know that the likes of Femi Oponu Adesina, the likes of Pastor Ruga, Ikene Shatabandu, the likes of Femi Gbajabiamule, the likes of Tifnumbu and gang, and every one of them that cut across everything that is standing because of what they are gaining from Nigeria, and you symbolizes them as Yoruba because they are Yorubas, which they are indeed, but they don't speak for me. Now, let me tell you how muzzled up this whole thing is. The whole thing is. When you see the congregation of all these criminals and what they are working tirelessly against, you will realize that they don't have, I've said it many times, they don't have, number one, they don't have a tribe, they don't have religion, they don't have a culture, no tradition, no political party, no nothing, as much as many of you wanted to identify them with this and that. They don't operate on that level at all. Therefore, it would be so wrong for anyone to walk about and say, whenever the likes of these guys, Oponu Adesina and co, say something, and you think they represent the Yoruba people. They don't. They don't. When they killed people in Eastern Nigeria, when they killed the IPOB members, guess who is their PRO? The Nigerian military PRO that will always give the press statement to describe and put in the lies against the innocent people they killed. Igbo man. You know his name. I can't remember his name. But every time you read their press statement against the IPOB and all that criminalities they are carrying out in Eastern Nigeria, when you read that, you will see it underneath. An Igbo man is the spokesperson for them. When DSS goes about and they hunt people down, especially what they have been doing in Eastern Nigeria, when they want to give press statements to cover up all their crime, the person that will speak for them, Ifunaya, is an Igbo man. Is the one that will put up the lies. Is the one that will speak to you. And have you asked yourself why? Would you accept and say that Nigeria military spokesperson and their stories against IPOB represented and presented by an Igbo man, by Igbo men in this different tequila squad, would you agree that these guys represent the Igbo people? In all honesty. Now, let's even put Biafra aside. Would you say everything they are doing in the interest of Nigeria represent the interest of all the Igbo people? That is to tell you how intertwined all of these things are. The only thing you can do to untangle yourself is, number one, when you see them, don't look at them like he's a Yoruba man, is this or that. It is the same machination. And as they are orchestrating on how to muzzle everybody out towards their 2023, because they have the capacity, don't even undermine that, okay? Until you have that surprise, spontaneous response called the revolution that will strike them and shock them and shake them. Until that happens, see, don't deceive yourselves. They have the capacity to muzzle everybody out and have their way on their 2023, which in itself is a time bomb. So the only way if you really want to, right? If you really want to understand how to deal with these people better, you have identified with what you want to identify with. Now, you can now see that it is not just if the Yorubas want to leave, it is not the job of an Igbo man or the Igbo people to stop us. Do you know that? If the Biafrans want to leave, it is not in the capacity of the Yorubas to stop them. No, it is not. If the Arewas want to leave, it is not in the capacity of us to stop them. But guess what? When you look above it, if you look above all of this, and you see all these top criminals who are operating from every part of Nigeria under different disguises, organization, political party, this and that, religious groups, all of that. When you look at all of them up there, how they walk, they don't walk as Igbos, Yorubas, Hausas, or Fulanis, or anything. They work as one criminal organization, like a cartel. So there is no way you are going to escape their funnels. You are going to escape their bloody government in any way. If you jump to the left, if you jump to the right, you can't. If you run to the church, they will send you back to the left or send you back to the right. If you run to the, wherever you want to go to, you will realize, if you run to the CSOs, they call them the civil society organizations, or this if you run to them, they will direct you back to either of the two. Then you will realize that if you run to Ohaneze Ndigbo, they will direct you back to that center. If you run to Afenifere, they will direct you back to that center. If you run to Arewa, they all work together, even if they make all manner of inflammatory statements that get you and I kind of worked up. Did you hear the message of Obasanjo yesterday? Oh, did you hear what Azikiwe said last week? You know what I mean? Things that get us worked up, but that is not how that's not how it works. They say things up there, yeah? They are the same. So how do you detach yourself from that? Is number one, never to actually see yourself as enemy. If you are a Biafran, don't see a Yoruba man as your enemy. If you are a Yoruba man, don't see a Fulani man as your enemy. And I have my reason for saying that. If you are an Hausa man, don't see an Ijo man as your enemy. If you pay attention very well, you will realize that I'm not talking about these Fulani jihadists that come from Niger, killing us and all of that, all right? I'm talking about those we grew up with, that we knew as Fulanis, for example. In Yoruba land, where we call them the Bororos, Fulanis, and all of that, they weren't carrying AK-47. They weren't, attacking or stabbing or killing anybody when we were growing up, okay? So which means we all wanted one thing, just peace of mind. You want to be able to feed your family. You want to be able to earn something, go out there and earn a living, come back home and live a standard life, be treated as human being, create a society, a community your children would like to grow up in. I mean, things that you want, I want are very simple until the criminals stole them from us. But the only way we can continue to fight and, stab ourselves, want to kill ourselves is because now, you now know you are a Fulani. This one now knows that he's a Yoruba man. And now everybody now knows that, you know what? If you continue to take side up there, because they don't take side, definitely you, me, everybody will have to continue to kill ourselves. Why they benefit from it? So how do? You distance yourself and you don't treat yourself as, oh, you are my enemy because your leaders hate us. That's what they want you to believe. Mind you, that moment where you begin to detach yourself from their utterances, when you begin to distance yourselves from what they say they stand for, because if you pay attention very well, most of them, if not all of them, they identify with many things that all of us are complaining about today. They are out there. But when you look at how they operate, you will realize that there is never going to be any result that is going to get anything done, but it's just an opportunity to make you think some people care for you. Meanwhile, they don't. They are just these middlemen that are in between to stop you and help you suppress your anger so that you won't have much eagerness to go out there and fight for your right, because they won't tell you to, because they will meet them, right? Anyway, so when you begin to distance yourself from them, when I say distance, I mean, why should you fight anybody who don't like Tinubu? For example, let's use examples now, right? Let's say I don't like Tinubu and I have my reasons, okay? You like Tinubu, you have your reasons. But when we begin to compare, right, what will make you understand why I don't like him and I will understand why you like him is if you let me express myself for why I don't like him. Not because you will be picking from the reasons why I don't like him to defend him, rather than you to tell us exactly why we should like him. So taking side. So if I tell you that for the past 22 years, that Tinubu and gang, they have managed to steal more than 10 trillion naira from you as Lagosians, and this 10 trillion naira in 22 years could possibly have changed many lives, make lives more easier for many of you, make life more meaningful for many of you, if that particular money was actually expended on you. I have my reason that I can give this figure and say, prove me wrong, that if you have access to such money, right, it won't change your life better. I'm not saying they give it to you. I'm talking about a life whereby you have access to uninterrupted power supply, for example, right? You could create jobs yourself. You could use your talent to create something, even if you can't find any job out there. You have having electricity alone, right, can cut down insecurity by 50%. It's not even 50%. It will cut down. It will cut down insecurity by more than 80%. Because many people will now be engaged in one thing or the other, right? And even just that alone. What about education? Just for education as well. Built in 22 years. If they have indeed invested in education, right? Today, Lagos won't be the capital of Agbero, where you even have educated Agberos, simply because people have to survive. They resulted into extortion. Extortioning from people, innocent people from motor parks, garages, markets, and the rest, earning a living through the agony of others. They call it hustling. So there's a lot that could have been done. They've told you Lagos State alone is generating over, VAT over 49 billion. Lagos is generating over 600 billion in a year on tax alone. So after Abuja is Lagos. And the person that is collecting the tax for you in Lagos is Alpha Beta, owned by Tifnumbu. He is rich because he's rich on your money. Now, I can tell you, I don't like that. But you can then turn around and tell me that he created LASMA. He created, what other thing? Loma. He created this, he created that to create jobs. But today, what is that benefit of Loma than extortionists like the Nigerian police? LASMA, Loma. Lagos State is still the dirtiest of all states you can find in Africa. Is the mega slum. Now, this is not me saying things because I don't like him. There are many things that are factual that you have to say, well. So I'm talking about things that should affect lives. I'm not talking about things that they gave to you. They gave to your uncle, to your mommy, to your daddy every election time. I'm not talking about those. I'm not talking about this 10,000 naira, 20,000 naira job they give to you in at the different local government area, where you yourself know that you're not really contributing anything. Whether they pay the money or they don't pay the money, you are just there, keeping body and soul together. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about things that will benefit millions, that you won't have to live the kind of life you are living today if you are in Nigeria. And same thing goes, not just for Tifnumbu, for the rest of those who are parading themselves as political leaders, past and present in Yoruba land, who will come out and say one or two things and say they are speaking on behalf of Yoruba people. And you look at them and say, when did you start speaking for the Yoruba people? Is it when we are now part of the poverty capital of the world? Is it now that we are now part of the most terrorized people in the whole of Africa? Second most terrorized people in the whole world after Afghanistan? When did you start speaking for Yoruba people? That we should then begin to listen to them. When all they tell us is in fact to lead us back to Nigeria. The same place we are struggling to breathe. So, when you detach yourself from them logically. If you look at what you have lost and what you could have been, if you can picture it, for example, look at me. Look at me. You can use me as a very good example of what Nigeria should never be to any young person, ever. There are lucky ones, but you see, those lucky ones are the reason why so many pastors in Nigeria are still in business, because they can use them as an example of how gracious God can be to you if you serve him diligently. If you serve God obediently, your life will be better in so many ways that you can't describe it. That is why they remain in business. You know why? When you have 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 100,000 that can really stay afloat above the poverty threshold in a country where they say people are living in exponential, extraordinary poverty level, 128 million people living below poverty level. So you see the remaining ones who are like managing to stay afloat. Those are the ones they are using as an example of miracles. Look at it. Nigeria is bad. Nigeria is bad. That person just bought car. Nigeria is bad. Nigeria is bad. These people are building houses. They say, just pray that God should just do your own. Then we'll get to a point that you begin to say, maybe God doesn't even like you. What are you doing wrong? maybe you should get somebody's pata. Or maybe you should go and buy agege bread with sanitary pad, used sanitary pad, soaked sanitary pad. Or maybe you should just cut somebody's daughter's breast. Something, anything, just to stay afloat. Use me as a good example. I left Nigeria after my second business collapsed. When I say collapse, I mean like when I'm just like counting days before I will spend the last kobo. And then I was one day sitting on my balcony in Oduduwans. Kofo, my daughter, was in the room sleeping. There was no light. But there was this kind of brightness. The moon was out. And I was looking at the sky. And, my house is an upstairs, right? It's a story building. So, and I was like, man, I don't think my children will stand a chance if I continue to live in this country. I don't know where that came from. I remember doing traveling for two of my friends when I, way back in 2002 in Lagos. That was when the UK was doing their Dropbox. So I didn't do for myself, but oh boy, because I had money, I had small money then, I had some money. At least as a young person. But Nigeria happened to me and I was counting the last day. And I said, you know what? I'm going to leave this country if I actually want a future for my children. That was 9 years ago. And when I came here, first, I realized that as a young man, what was needed was an opportunity which was lacking in Nigeria. It is not because of the lack of the will to want to do something. But if you have lived in Nigeria for so long and you have really hustled, I got exposed to having to work since the age of 10. I've been trying to work to earn something since I was 10. I've been living home. I will leave my mom and I will travel to another town for a week to go and dig a foundation. These new houses they were building then. 13-year-old boy with my friends who go there, who travel, who sleep in uncompleted buildings. So very early in the morning, very tiny us, very, very tiny boys, little boys. So we'll go out there, we'll dig foundation that big men should be digging. We'll dig and dig and dig and they will be, shoveling out, moving the whole thing, the earth. So an average Nigerian, especially from where I come from, they are willing to do something. It is just that the opportunity is so scarce that even your parents will tell you, you know what? Just go school. If you go school, you can find a company, you can work here, you can work there. So when I came to the UK, the first set of people that I met, they were trying to help me. Some of them are watching me today from London. Some of them they are like, we knew it. So what happened? They wanted to help and they were like, you know what? You will need to go back to Nigeria. And I'm like, no, I'm not going back. No, I'm not. I did a lot of things. They call it under the shelf jobs. Worked in the toilet, did cleaning, work in care home, work in the kitchen, wash dishes, did all manner of things that I could get to do because I had bills to pay. There was nobody to pray to. There was nobody to beg. It was a reality that if that same opportunity existed in Nigeria, maybe I wouldn't even have to travel, because why should I be doing something similar there and then travel to do that here? But it was like a sacrifice. It was like a price that I was willing to pay, because I wasn't going to wait on anybody to do it for me. 9 years. This is me, Maiyegun. Those who told me 9 years ago that, I feel sorry for some of you who are just coming now. There's nothing in this country anymore. You should just go to Nigeria. Nigeria is fine. Some of you don't know what you have. Blah, 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 nonsense. I just look at them. I'm like, is it not after I got here that I got to know you? So who the hell are you to think you actually have an opinion here? Because you don't. But 9 years after that, I have not just made good use of it. I have contributed greatly to this country. And I have remitted greatly back to Nigeria economy as well. So at the end of the day, it was pretty much like a win-win, until I realized that after all this, if I dare go to Nigeria, after all those sufferings and all of that, I could lose my life just like that. Should I then keep quiet and look away? Because at least I'm far away from it. I can enjoy my life. I can have all the best things I want. I can pretend that I'm not even from there, which is so difficult for somebody like myself, who is a real person, who is a family man. Like, I love family. I love caring for people. And they do know that I care. And you know that I care too. So what am I saying here is that Nigeria stole a lot from you. And you shouldn't, for any reason, defend any of them, thinking they fought for you or they did something or whatever you think is going on in your mind. You should never defend them. Yes, what you are eating now, you may think that's through them, but you don't know what they are taking away from you. They have taken a lot away from you. Even your right to think. They want to think for you. Therefore, when they decide that you deserve to be killed, they will come and kill you. And they will justify it. So for those of us who are not in that country, we have seen reports, we have heard reports, and we all know that the Bokohari's government supports the same criminals we read about all the time. And therefore, that should further strengthen our own resolves. That if they have caged those back home, I don't think any of us, in all sincerity, should play psychological imprisonment this time. After all, you see what they did to Chiwetalu Agu, where peaceful self-determination campaigners are being persecuted, but the terrorist sponsors and those who are protecting them are in power in Nigeria. The same Femi Oponu Adesina, they asked him, your government said you were coming to expose the terrorists, the Boko Haram sponsor. It's been a while. You haven't told us. Even Dubai just came out and they told us that they have convicted about 5 people in their prison for 10 years. They are not coming back to Nigeria. What are you doing about them? The same Femi Oponu Adesina said this, by the way.
It's not the first time the federal government will say there needs to be an exposure or to name and shame those who are backing or funding terror in Nigeria. The United Arab Emirates recently also came out, not the first time, to name names. 6 Nigerians were indicted in those funding terror globally.
Yeah, thank you. Naming and shaming will not be the motive. Rather, bringing malefactors to justice will be it. Nigeria is not interested in naming and shaming anybody. Rather, it wants to bring them to justice. You will see that the United Arab Emirates has given some names, and the Attorney General of the Federation has responded to that matter, saying that in due course, all these people will have their dates in court. Rest assured that these people will be dragged before justice, and justice will have its way.
Just all talk. Egbon Femi, I don't know if you are watching. Oponu ni o. You know, yeah, and she deliberately ni o. No, one kì máa sọ bẹ́ẹ̀, kì máa sọ pé kì máa lo heaven. Femi Oponu ni ẹ o, Oponu Adesina. Now you became spokesperson for Bokohari and spitting rubbish, spitting nonsense. Why people are dying every day? Naming and shaming terrorists is no longer your agenda. Femi Oponu Adesina Shino. You see what they did to Chiwetalu Agu was to try to break him, as they have already declared civil war in eastern Nigeria. You see, the reason why I'm always talking about this eastern Nigeria is because we have seen what they did in Benue, where terrorists are declaring state governor, a governor of a state wanted, declaring jihad on him in that same Nigeria, and nothing happened. We know that after the Igbos, now we go next. And the same way Igbo politicians are defending Nigeria and attacking and ready to sacrifice the IPOB, the Biafrans, is the same way the Yoruba crook are going to sacrifice many of us. So if we keep quiet, because it doesn't cost them anything to exterminate as many as possible. These are the people who killed over 5 million people, and they got rewarded for it. How much is 100,000, 200,000, 500,000? 300,000 children have been killed in northern Nigeria in the past 12 years alone by Boko Haram. So don't you think they care about all these figures and all of that? So the reason why we need to continue to scream and call their names is because tomorrow, may they no come back and start saying the Igbos have suffered, the Yorubas have suffered, when they were actually the people who orchestrated the suffering, the killings. That's why I'm saying this. So somebody put on a Biafran attire, and he was sharing food to the poor people. Yeah. And the next thing was that they picked him up. You know what they did? You know why I'm wearing this? I know that I'm already in their black book. So, except if I just sleep and I wake up in Nigeria and I don't know how I get there, me and them and Nigeria, me and Africa, now far away for now. Because my friend said I am very valuable to them. Very valuable that some of us who are still alive are filling in the gap in these perilous times. So I don't get business for Nigeria. The only business I have there is the Yoruba nation business. And that business is that if we are not hunted down as criminals, which we are not, we can go home and talk to our people and say, listen, let me tell you, all I'm doing right now, I can do it face to face. I can, like when I went home for my mom's burial, there were a few meetings they organized. I attended, addressed people. But you see, putting this on right now, automatically put me in their black book. Do you understand? And how is this harmful to anybody? How is this harmful to anyone? This is what the Biafrans are putting on. including their flags. Some people made this paraphernalia. They make all these souvenirs. They make all these branded hats, shirts, flags, including wristwatch, wristband, necklace, so many things that they made. In their own flag, the rising sun, they even have beer. There's a beer. What is it they call that your beer? Trophy, or what is it they call them? So, to them, putting this on, or even putting this anywhere near you, automatically, makes you a terrorist. So somebody wore that, somebody who has made better contribution to Nigeria than Bokohari and his marauders will ever do. Chiwetalu Agu, the people who puts Nigeria on the map, Nollywood. He put on a dress and he went out there to share food to people. The military grabbed him. They beat him up, drop, old man. His association got him out. On their way to the car, DSS grabbed him. You know what they did to him? They took him into their Abuja office and they started checking his mobile phone, checking everything. Old man, they are checking old man's phone. They then went on to begin their psychological torture, We'll just kill you here. Why do you want to waste your life? What's your business with Biafra? All these kind of things. Baba just told them that my people, we are people, we are called the rising sun, right? We have it. You saw it on my shirt, right? The rising sun. I just believe that one day my people will rise. We will rise again. But guess what? When they didn't find anything, they finally released him. Somebody has already given me the interpretation of what he said there. But for the sake of those who are going to watch our video, when actor Chiwetalu Agu came out, Baba is still preaching Biafra. This time around, he be like, say, he don't sign.
Everybody know, but close to you, just Work out with a swagger. Work out with a swagger. Oh. Nagwana yebo. Chiso Maxwell Igwe. Ngega account number 2002 363 413 Zenith Bank. On your Hillary Chukwuka. Yes, sir. No commando. Okay, me one na mo kwe. Ayoji egwego. Yeah. Oh. Na gwa hi na wishie. Na gwa na hi na wishie. Yes, so ona ha. Yeah. Keep on sharing the video. Let it keep on going viral. Come on Alutogo. He is here. He is a top man. We are moving. We are going ahead. Let this video go viral. Keep on sharing the link. No commando. Damn man. Damn man. Hey yo. Hey yo. The rising man. The rising man. Yes, so we are creating history. We are creating record.
It was a great one when he arrived, and then he spoke and he said, well, Nigeria has no plan for the Igbos. The old man, for the first time in a long time, was able to meet the dreaded DSS and the way they operate. A criminal organization that treats Igbos like they are nobody. When they get you caught, when you are in their hand, in their custody, they treat you as Biafrans or as IPOB members. They treat them like they are not human beings. So nobody goes in there and come out and say they like them. You would never like them. Because you'll be like, a self-determination is not crime, except in Nigeria, where criminals are in charge. And he said people should continue. You get what I mean now? People should continue. Let them continue to campaign and talk to people about Biafra. Talk to people about Yoruba Nation, about everything you believe in. It is the right thing to do. Okay? So I was picking something up earlier, and let me see, where did I get that? Yeah, this is where he spoke, I believe. Sorry, I think it's this.
I want to hear them back and back in Kuho. I'm more bidoloku. Whoa, the first phase, whoa, the second phase. The guy was at the final phase. When they couldn't do on the BBC, I know have. And we're correctly hanging in Tia. But I'll be angling them ever now, but I'm in there. See, on your bonnet, but go to bed. Iboguano! Iboguano! Question! I believe one daughter, Mandoji, then one done at one Igbo. Habokunacha. Rising sun. The sun rises from the east and sets in the west. I want to hear I want to hear the 18 years. I gana muke konwa wana fwanye. Ndi ocha maho makagonwa. Ndi ocha maho makagonwa. As of 1991. 1995, Jegide, officially living in bondage Bialo 1992 in the incubator. All Chiwetalu Agu. By 1993, Mubiana ball living in bondage weputa. Amo amali organize na for onye nwe unu nene we bulu ndi sie ba enwezu olu tata call no Jesus aka well FCDF anya de jekuzu government yi olu anya jekuzu individuals no olu agbago ku paka through Nollywood onye nwezi ego bena invest ni Nollywood give one talent in acting you nwezi opportunity to act make your money. You ever know like I'm bullying in Anyanwago since afternoon I be alive. Because I get just ukua naive, not
just go and rest. Ekwenzu mami water. Ekwenzu. It is so unfortunate they subjected the old man to about 4 or 5 days of a marathon interrogation and torture and all of that stuff. And when I say torture, those of you don't know that torture is not always like a physical. There are psychological torture where they can lock you up in a dark room, quiet, cold, quiet room for long just to break you. All these things are tortures that these guys, they adopt in their operation and underworld, more or less like underworld operation. Say, yeah, but the old man came out and he said, he was told that Nnamdi Kanu was upstairs. I am here to pick up that BBC interview. When I pick that up, I will scrutinize that and I'll share with you what he also said there. But he mentioned it. He said in Abuja they told him that Nnamdi Kanu is upstairs, but he didn't see him. So which means that Mazi is alive and is fine. Okay, so we have told them today is the 15th. In 6 days' time, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is expected to appear in court in Abuja in a case that they said is the continuation of his case after they kidnapped him from Kenya. So everybody is waiting, and people are mobilizing too ahead of that to see to meet in Abuja. The preparation is nice, but I am going to continue to urge those who are the political players in Eastern Nigeria that, number one, the first move for peace is for all of you to come out. Even if you have to do it individually, you better do it now. And unprescribe IPOB. Unprescribe them now, so that the military incursion, the military invasion can become illegal. All right? You need to do that now, because you are the ones who proscribed IPOB. Igbo governors, Igbo political leaders, you were the ones who proscribed them. It is not Bokohari. Bokohari just help you to announce it as well and make it federalized. Since you don't do them, so since Devuluma he made the announcement, it has been going like a roller coaster thing to prove that everything going on wrong in Eastern Nigeria is IPOB when they are not. So all of you governors, like this governor from Ikpeazu of Abia, footballer, even you, Baino, or I mean Obiano, they should begin to come out individually to unprescribe IPOB so that they can begin to open door for possible negotiation and peace. When we say negotiation and peace, there are things that are demands of the IPOB. You should begin the conversation around that now. And then, without delay, unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You have the window, you have the opportunity now. But if you play that card of keeping him there until 2023, then you can continue to kiss the peace you think you want to have there in Eastern Nigeria goodbye. And this is why the Biafrans will continue to sit at home. This time around, it may even get worse. Yeah? And because they can see through the game. So which means it's completely, I mean, Abia governor said nobody can control the sit at home. That they should begin the process of negotiating and talking to the IPOB and possibly unprescribe them. Do it. Do it. Buhari no fit kill you. Buhari cannot kill you. He can get mad or what have you. You have few months to go before they kick all of you out. Yeah? Do it now. Unprescribe IPOB so that in your own state, they can feel safe. They are not criminals. And that can then begin at least that can be a kind of a trust. You get what I mean? Now, something. Give them something to make them feel like they can trust you. Unprescribe IPOB and begin the process of the freedom of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and see that the peace and tranquility you enjoyed before they attempted to kill Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and they have been killing the IPOB and then the Biafrans since then. You know, you can imagine what that peace was. As much as Nnamdi Kanu was everywhere, there was no incident, no reported incident of any attack, any fight, even when he's moving with thousands, tens of thousands of people on the road. There's never been any clashes. No, none recorded until Nigerian military went to his house and killed 28 people, 28 young people, and attempted to kill him too. Since then, the people who brought the war to Eastern Nigeria, they have been doing everything to keep it going that way and doing everything to continue to make it go that way. But you can stop it because all of you are behind it. Stop the bloodshed, stop the killings, unprescribe IPOB, begin the conversation for the immediate release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Unconditional release this time around. Unconditional release. If you do it, Buhari no fit kill you. And if Buhari kill you, we will celebrate you because you will be a hero. Somebody who did the right thing. If that would be the right thing to do. Let's see that happen. Or else, preparing for election, some of you don't know how this is going to spill over. But again, me, I have said my own. It's up to everybody to do what they think is right or right. So thank you so much for your time with me tonight. Anyway, I couldn't let this pass. I'm going to go have my dinner and I'm going to see you some other time. Take care and you have a good night.
ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Igbó nìna kówó jẹ. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Òkúra olóṣèlú. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀. Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkanṣá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran. Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o, ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣà ìtú wọn síta.